So today I'm going to talk about Sinnoh Ash. So Sinnoh Ash was basically, the real question was, how strong was he really? But taking a look at his accomplishments in the Sinnoh region, he had won 8 gym badges, made it to the Sinnoh League, and defeated arguably his best rival, Paul. In the end of the series, Ash had a pretty solid team heading to the Sinnoh League. Of course, he had a main lead in Pikachu, then he had Torterra, Raptor, Weasel, Infernape, Gible, and Gliscor, which I don't think he used in the Pokemon League, but he did have. Anyway, sadly he didn't get the chance to evolve the Gible all the way into a Garchomp, because that would have been a really great pseudo legendary they would have had. That would have been very helpful in the Pokemon League, but it made really sense because he got Gible like near the end of the series when it was about to end, so they wouldn't really have any time for him to train and evolve him by the time. However, nonetheless, the team itself was pretty solid. Ash had battle all the way to the quarterfinals where he had faced Paul, and to me, this was probably one of the greatest battles ever, like Ash had ever had, because it was basically the battle between Paul, basically like a stat-driven player who only cares about if the stat of Pokemon's good or not, and Ash, a different player, whereas his ideals are more hard work and determinations. So, the battle between the two was very great. Everybody was trading blows, but in the end, the one that came out was Infernape, the Chimchar that Paul had abandoned and thought was worthless. Chimchar, the Infernape was a baller. I think he took out like 3 or 4 Pokemon of Paul's because I think Ash was only down to Infernape after he lost Pikachu. The Infernape was boss, man. He fisted all Paul's Pokemon to death, and in the final act of Paul versus Ash, Paul sent out his Electivire, I think, and to battle Infernape. I think this was the one that Chimchar was mostly afraid of when he was still with Paul. But the battle was very tight, and both Pokemon really held their own. I think Infernape was Mach punching and Electivire was Thunder punching one another. But in the end, Infernape was the last one standing, and Paul had lost to Infernape. The Chimchar he had abandoned, and now raised by Ash had defeated him. The battle between stat Pokemon trainer versus determination and hardworking trainer had ended, and Ash was the one that was victorious in the end. But however, in the end, both trainers had nothing but respect for one another. Even though their ideals were different in the end, they still grew because of one another. Their dislike for one another made them grew stronger. So, after that battle, Ash had to rest up to go against Tobias. Though we knew Ash would win against Paul because he's the main character, plot armor. There's definitely no plot armor can save him for this next match. There's just no way. His next match, he had to face freaking Tobias and his Darkrai. Somebody that we never knew that was in the storyline until he came to Pokemon League. And so in the semis, Tobias sent out his Darkrai as we predicted, and Ash had used literally like 4 Pokemon just to try to beat him. Ash had used Heracross, Gible, Torkoal, all destroyed by Darkrai easily. However, his last hope is in Sceptile. Ash had sent out Sceptile, but we thought I thought he was going to be destroyed too, because I think it was a Dream Eater or something. He was put in a dream, but he got out of it, and Sceptile Leaf Bladed him, and he was the only one that defeated at Darkrai in the tournament. But how quickly short-lived that achievement was. Tobias sent out another legendary as in Latias, and that Latias just destroyed Sceptile in a quick flash blow. Leaving now Ash with just 2 more Pokemon, and he sent out Swellow next. Swellow got bodied. Swellow just couldn't handle it. And in the final battle now, it was between Pikachu and Latias. And Pikachu relatively did pretty good against it. Pikachu, in the end, he jumped onto Latias's back. And in the final battle, all Pikachu did was literally he freaking spammed the crap out of Thunderbolts. But in the final clash, it was the Latios like tugged him out of the air and Latios was preparing a Luster Purge, and Pikachu using a Volt Tackle straight down. You know, both Pokemon were defeated in the end, but however, Ash had lost, so there was no more remaining Pokemon. So it was sad to see because Tobias would have had 4 Pokemon left, so he definitely would have had another pseudo legendary, a legendary coming out in the 3rd one. But we would never know what the 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th one is because no one made it that far, sadly. Ash had lost the tournament. He made it far to the point where, in my opinion, and I think in many people's opinions, he would have won the whole league had Tobias not in there, because after defeating Paul, I don't think there was anyone else that would have defeated Ash. I mean, if you give Ash either the Sinnoh team or the Sinnoh team he used Paul, the Sinnoh team he's used against Tobias, he would have probably still win the league either way. Just like unfortunate Tobias was there. So in the end, like, if you tell me to rate Sinnoh Ash on a scale of like A, B, C, or D, I'd probably give him a solid A-, just because, like, though he had a really solid team and his achievements was great in the Sinnoh League, probably the best, maybe the best he had, but just not having a Gible into a Garchomp really hurted him, in my opinion. And of course, it's not going to win the league, but you really can't do anything there with Tobias being there, so I can give Ash a pass for that. I mean, he won the league in my heart, but, you know, Ash was like a really complete trainer at this point of his career, or of his Pokemon journey, and you know, I thought he was really great. He was a really great trainer. He learned a lot from his mistakes and all the stuff, and he did in the series. You know, if you guys have made it this far into the video, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and hope to make more videos coming up. So, you know, see you guys later.